How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Happy early Halloween. Today we are in Chronicon taking a look at another Warden build that I have for you guys. So if you don't know, Chronicon just got recently updated. What a big update. A lot of changes, some new items, some changes on old items. One being Balgar's bindings no longer reduces the amount of staggered damage. It instead only increases the damage. So a lot of those tanky builds that people were running, or myself that were running, with pairing staggering boots with Balgar's binding for increased or reduced damage reduction, I guess, increased survivability, no longer is really the thing anymore, which kind of sucks. So today we're taking a look at a build that I had crafted previously before this update came out. Now I'll be honest, this doesn't really change the build a whole lot. It just makes it not as super tanky as it was before. Has you can still get pretty tanky with this build. I did just test it. I can get up to about 7 or 8 just fine. Pushing 10, that's where it kind of has some difficulty surviving, whereas before I could push up to 10 no problem, survive. But the issue with this build is it lacks damage for whatever reason, and I think it's just because it's poorly optimized with the stats. I haven't really sat down, min-maxed the stats on all the items and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get in this build. This build is a pet poison build for kind of its base damage. Okay, so the base damage is poison. The theme of this build is pet build. Okay, ever since I found the item Call of the Wild, I've always wanted to do a pet build, and I figured the Warden is going to be the best to do the pet build, at least from what I can see so far. So today the full 4-piece that we're looking at here is we are looking at Everspring Raiment set. The reason why is this set, in terms of the poison base, is better than the shroom set in my opinion, because the shrooms, they're nice, they're fun. I love being like little Teemo, running around throwing shrooms and stuff like that, pissing off everybody, but it's just a little bit slow. It doesn't seem impactful, whereas with the pods, it seems pretty good. So first and foremost, on this set, it uses pods as its main damage source. If you don't know what pods are on the Warden's poison skills now all carry pods, which will start to grow on any foe hit. The pods deal 90% of impact damage as poison damage per second for 4.35 seconds. When dealing damage, the pods have a 55% chance to burst, dealing damage in a 4.7 meter radius. Pretty good. I mean, honestly, if you're speccing into the poison tree, you almost just always pick this up anyways, just because it's additive damage, it's extra damage. And even going down into the other nodes, you have Bloom. Pods become more potent and make Bloom having 10% chance when dealing damage to restore 5% in the Warden's and her allies' health or mana, whichever lower, and then Gift of Gaia. Bloom has a 3% chance to spawn a health or mana pickup on trigger, and then as you rank it up higher, you just get more of a chance on it. So it's a pretty neat skill, and getting into the set, it's 2-piece pod stack infinitely. Bloom is twice as likely to trigger, and then its 3-piece pods have an increased 20% chance to burst. When bursting, they spawn twisters, dealing the same amount of damage per second for 3 seconds. In addition, all poison skills always apply 3 stacks of pods per hit. And then of course it's 4-piece. Warden gains 40% damage reduction. So that's kind of like the overall theme. That's where most of our damage is coming from with this build, is going to be with pods. And then our companions are going to come in there and deal a little bit extra stuff. So we're running the full 4-piece chest, helm, weapon, offhand. The second set that we're running is we are running Master's Command, both Amulet and Ring. Reason why is this is a pet build. This is the pet set for Amulet and Ring. It seems like all companions become elite, granting them an additional special attack, multiplying their base health by 2 and their base damage by 5. In addition, the companion damage stat is 25% more effective. So basically what's happening here is we're getting more health on our companion, which Meh. I mean, I don't know. I've never really seen them die, and if they do die, they spawn back pretty quick. And their base damage is multiplied by 5, which is the biggest reason why we use this. In addition, the companion damage stat, which we stack, is 25% more effective. So overall, this item set is just crazy good. I love it. I can't get enough of it. We are running Storm Chasers as our base item. Damage increased by 15% for each Twister, Gust, Whirlwind, and similar type effect within 5 meters. The reason why we're doing this is since our pods, when they burst, they spawn these small little twisters. We're just getting increased damage from that. And then with our rune, we have staggering boots. So 45% of the damage taken is staggered and dealt 3 seconds. Dealt over 3 seconds at 30% damage reduction. You pair that with our Balgar's Binding, which is our accessory. Now before, this would have been amazing. This is where we got super tanky. Is because then we would have had that damage reduced by, you know, like 60-something%, however high it went. But instead, we're just getting extra damage, which isn't bad. It's not bad. I just don't think it's as good as it was anymore. Obviously, it's not. But either way, damage is increased by 25% of the currently held staggered damage. So overall, this build is it's not as tanky as it was, but it is pretty tanky, and we'll get into it with survivability on the runes. So for the runes for survivability, of course, we got staggering boots, like I already went over on our boots. On our helmet, we are running Lifeguard, reduces damage taken from all sources, including indirect, by 30%. I want to say that it also affects our staggered damage as well. I haven't really gotten into testing it, but when playing it, I just feel like it does. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm surviving a lot longer than I should. And then also pair that with our chest, which is Forest Embrace. Bloom reduces damage taken by 30% for 5 seconds when triggered. Since we're pretty much almost constantly triggering Bloom, we're getting that 30% damage reduction, and it's nice, okay? And then outside of that, getting into the other runes that kind of make this build. So first of all, this is a companion build, okay? And Call of the Wild, like I said previously, this is all about this. This is the reason why this build exists, is because of this item / rune. Call of the Wild, all the Warden's companion skills that summon 2 or more companions summon 3 additional companions. So yeah, so we're running that. And then the other runes that we're running on this build is we're running Talisman of the Spines on our amulet. Greater rune for each assigned skill that is utility, ultimate, companion, ding ding ding, aura, heritage, or ritual. Thorns is increased by 100%. Well, hold on. Why are you thinking, why are we running Thorns on a pet build? Well, because it kind of works, and the reason why is our offhand rune, which is Nature's Barbs. The damage of Vine Shot, Bramble Vine, Bramble Storm, and Vine Blast is increased by 53% of the Warden's Thorn stat, and Thorn's damage turns into poison. So what this does is, so since we're kind of a tanky build, where we're kind of standing around in the mobs. We're going to get hit, therefore our Thorns is going to activate and deal some pretty decent damage. And since that's poison damage, we're just going to get more pods out there, and etc, etc. And also it increases the base damage of our Bramble Storm, which is kind of the bread and butter right click that we use when everything's off cooldown. So it's just some pretty overall nice extra damage. You know, Thorns we don't necessarily care about, but it increases our damage of our Bramble Storm, which we use quite a bit, and it's just nice. You know, Thorns, I don't rely on Thorns, but it's nice when it happens. Let's put it that way. And then get into our bow, our main hand weapon. I just have my Rose. Symbiosis has an 80% increased effect, and we'll get into that with skills when we get into looking at Symbiosis. And then, of course, on a ring, we are rocking Jeopardy, Greater Rune. I feel like this is just the ring I run all the time. But critical hit chances locked to 5%, and for each attack that lands a hit, you gain 20% critical hit damage for 3 seconds until you reach 10 stacks. After reaching 10 stacks, your critical hit chance is locked to 100% for 3 seconds, after which it resets. So, this is just pretty good. Overall, I mean, I can't think of another ring to put on builds anymore just because this ring's just crazy. Like, come on, having 100% crit hit chance in any fucking thing is gonna make you busted. So, you know, these are the items. I haven't tweaked them since the latest update here, so I apologize if something's not quite kosher if this doesn't work as good as it did before. I mean, I still think it's a fun build, but let's go ahead and move into the skills. Taking a look into the skills, we are spec'd into Druid, Stormcaller, and Winter Herald. Starting off with Druid, we spec into Barkskin, Forester for extra movement speed. We then go into Naturalist. Pick up Spores, not because we want it, but because we have to get into it to progress further into the tree to pick up our main staples here. Pods, Spiderlings, and Bramblestorm. Okay, going off of Bramblestorm, we pick up Leeching Vines. This is a pretty good one. Applies a leeching poison to foes, stealing up to 55 health per second and restoring it to the Warden. Pretty good. Not necessarily needed though, because we do stagger a lot of damage. I don't think you can heal staggered damage, so you might be able to. I don't know, but not necessarily needed if you don't want it. Otherwise, with Pods, we do spec into Bloom. And then we do get one into Gift of Gaia. Then jumping up to Spiderlings, we put all 5 points into Spiderlings. We only put 1 into Sporelings because we don't necessarily care about the shrooms, and we don't really have a whole lot of shroom, skills set up to really make this effective. But we do put 3 into Anti-Venom. Spiderlings now produce a powerful Anti-Venom aura, making the Warden and her allies immune to poison damage over time effects, as well as increasing their poison resistance by 48%. That's pretty good. It's pretty good, not gonna lie. And then we jump over to the right, we pick up Acid Rain. This is great, just instant damage. And then we Flourish, and then the Symbiosis, which is amazing. So foes struck by Acid Rain become fertilized, increasing the damage dealt by Pods, and health restored by Bloom by 45% on these targets. It's just fucking what? It's a pretty good ability. Pick it up, especially pair that with our main hand rune. It just becomes more effective. It's good. It's good. Free damage, free healing, and overall, it's great. Then lastly, we pick up Forest Ward. The reason why is Warden is protected by a Forest Ward, increasing her health and her resistances by 25%. Additionally, all utility and companion skills have their base cooldowns reduced by 25%, which we don't necessarily care about the cooldown reduction, but the resistance and the health is delicious. So that pretty much does it for the Druid tree. Big key points here that you want to pick up is Bramblestorm, Pods and Bloom, Spiderlings, Anti-Venom you could skip over. Not saying you have to pick it up. You don't even have to put all points in there if you don't want it. Acid Rain for sure, with Symbiosis, and then Forest Ward, of course. And then you could spec into Thorn Skin as well for that extra thorn damage, for that thorn synergy we have on our items as well. Who knows? There's some flexibility here in this tree. Otherwise, jumping over to Stormcaller here, we are picking up Stormer, Siphon Energy, putting 1 into Paralyze, 1 into Static, and then 1 into Tase. The reason why is we are speccing into Pixies and Wisps at the end of this tree for the most part for those extra companions. Now, hold on. I know what you're saying. Sadly, Wisps aren't affected by Call of the Wild rune because it's not an active companion skill on your bar, which sucks. I wish that was different. But hey, we still get 6 Wisps for free, essentially, that, do some pretty decent damage, because we also spec into Empowered Wisp. But dropping down here, so, we're running Pixies and Wisps, so they're doing a lot of lightning damage. So we pick up Static. Foes struck by lightning have a 20% chance to gain a charge of static. That charge holds 45% of the damage dealt by the triggered skill. At 4 charges, all charges are consumed for a chain lightning effect that strikes up to 2 nearby foes for total damage held by the charges. So this is pretty dope, since our Wisps and our Pixies are just you know what I mean? We get a pretty good chance at getting that chain lightning, and when it procs, it's good. It feels good. We don't necessarily care about Paralyze, however. Critical hits from lightning skills have a 6% chance to paralyze foes, stunning them for 2 seconds. This is nice. It's cool when it happens, but mainly we just want to we spec into this, progress into the tree, and then also we get Tase. That's 25% chance when evading an attack to paralyze attacker. Since we're the Warden, we are masters at evading. Might as well do this. It helps us for survivabilities. We're getting into pixies. This is kind of where you can swap these out at any time and point. If you're having a hard time surviving or wanting to push higher difficulties, I think Stormbender is the way to go. This guy will make you tanky. It will heal you. You will get a barrier that's just overall decent. And you do get you don't get that many of them though. So, and he's not really there for damage. He's there for survivability. Otherwise, if you're dropping those low mythics, I would definitely run pixies or sparkies. Either way works. In this case, I mean, I think they're both about the same. I mean, I can't really tell the difference between them. All I know is pixies do a little bit more damage than sparkies, so that's why I have pixies on there. Flutter, we do not care about this. We don't care about our companions living. They're there to die for us and serve our, chaotic deeds. But empowerment is a big thing here that you do want to pick up. Pixies gains the empowerment aura, increasing the damage of the Warden and her allies by 24%. It's good. Good. So yeah, so that's Lightning Tree. It's pretty much fixed in my opinion. You could move some things around, like do you need Tase? No. Do you need Static? Not really. So I mean, you could free up some points there. Definitely spec it back into Druid or getting into Winter Herald. We do pick up Briskness, reduces the mana cost of all skills by 20%. We don't necessarily care about this. Or Tundra reduces the cooldown of all skills, but we do need it to progress further in Tree. Picking up Guide increases companion health by 50%, which you don't technically need, but you do need to max it out to pick up the best companion, Wolfpack. While active in a slot, summon 7 wolves to help the Warden in combat. These wolves each have 612% of the Warden's frost damage, and health we don't give a shit about. And also the wolves, when their use of skill, will howl, dealing double their damage to all foes within 4.7 meters. And then we pick up Moon Howl, increases the damage of all Warden and her allies by 31%. For 6 seconds, and then also Ferocity increases companion damage by 30%. Now, I don't know how much points you want to spend in the Winter Herald tree. Mainly, these are the 3 that we want to pick up. This for survivability, obviously, but also just because we need it. So there's not a whole lot of flexibility here, but there is like a few points that you can mix and match around and see what works for you. If you find a better tree or skill tree, let me know. And then lastly, jumping over into Mastery. Mastery, I'm going to spend less time on Mastery here, guys, because I feel like we all know Mastery. I'm only going to pick up on the key things here. All right, so key things here are picking up Strengthened Companions, 40% companion damage. It's great. We're picking up Shattering hits for that 20% critical hit damage. And ideally, you do probably want this Hardened Companions, 40% companion health. But honestly, you could probably gloss over this one until you're really pushing those higher mythics, or if you just got points to spend. Otherwise, the biggest thing that we do want to hit up first is going to be the Druid tree here. We're picking up poison damage. Ring pods is 30% chance to trigger the burst effective pods, which is crucial for that set to work properly. Picking up Tangled Growth, which isn't really that good in my opinion, but it slows them. There's CC. You can't go wrong with it. Nature Synergy increases healing from all sources. Yes. Lifelink heals the Warden and her companions for 1% of the maximum health whenever Spider and Spiderlings hit a foe. This is great. This is another reason why we survive as like we do. Nature's Reclamation. Increased damage to pods. 100% increased damage to pods. Barb Spores, taking damage triggers spores, which will deal thorns damage as poison damage and will grow into an explosive mushroom. This is good since we already spec into the thorns area. It's just nice. It's additive. Druid Focus increases the damage of all Druid active skills by 25%. This is great. That means all our companion, or mainly just our spiders. Yeah, mainly just our spiders get proc by that. And then lastly, Poison Affinity, because we are poison based. And then lastly, just dipping into the Mastery trees here, Big things we pick up here are strengthened companions again. Oh my god, 60% companion damage. And then we also pick up friends with benefits, 20% companion passives, 20% companion passive and use effect, which is okay. It's not the best. Otherwise, we do spec into, you know, attack speed, mobility, challenger, of course, health leech. Big things here, fortress and elusive for getting that 5% extra evasion and also 5% damage reduction. Poison damage, yes. Resist all, 100% yes. And then otherwise, dip it down to this third tree. It's kind of a shit show. You know, companion health, sure, why not? We need it, not really. Cooldown reduction, healing from all sources. Gaia's Touch, which is pretty cool. 30% chance when invading to receive a protective barrier for 15% maximum health. Barrier lasts until broken. I would try to spec into that earlier, if I do say so myself. Otherwise, we do, you know, dip into XP, you know, critical hit damage, of course, yes, and then crystals found. And lastly, if you are of a higher level than me, Master Tamer is the way to go. 50% increased base health and damage for all companions. Alright, so getting into how this build works, honestly, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. As you can tell, I have everything bound to my left and right click. The reason why is because honestly, I don't know. It got pointed out to me on Reddit on my last video with the Warden starter build where, you know, I don't really do this in any other ARPG, like binding all my abilities to one, you know, button, so to speak. But for some reason in Chronicon, it just works so well binding everything to one button, especially when you have everything that just needs to be 100% uptime. So you spend less time worrying about, having to, you know, stutter step or, you know, press 1 through 4 keys. It's literally just on all one button. So I don't know if that's how you guys like to play it or not. Personally, I've been finding it pretty useful and honestly, overall, just, I don't know, kind of fun and enjoying. So for the most part, the way you're playing this build is you're just keeping 100% uptime on pixies, Wolfpack, and Spiderlings, interweaving Acid Rain and Bramble Shot when they're off cooldown, and making sure to keep up Forest Ward at all times. That's pretty much how this build works. Otherwise, you just pretty much just run around and you watch your minions do all the work and damage, and your pod twisters just causing mayhem overall. So I think it's a pretty good, fun build. And with all my other build videos, you know, this is not the build. This is not the one and only way to play this certain build. All my build videos, they're just all starter builds for the most part. They're good base builds. They're my weird ideas coming to life. Okay, you know, they're ideas that I think are cool or fun. And I'm not a meta gamer, or you know, I'm not a power gamer. I don't like min-maxing unless I find that one build that, you know, I just want to keep playing more and more of, then I'll push it to the limits. Otherwise, for the most part, you know, take this build, run with it, let me know what you do different. You know, show me, you know, let other people know, like, hey, maybe instead of running this item, try this one out. You know, more the merrier. That's what the comment sections are for on YouTube and for Reddit and stuff like that. Like, let's get some discussion going, guys. That's what I really want. Otherwise, that's pretty much going to do it for me today. Sorry for the late Chronicon videos. Been dealing with some life issues. Nothing crazy, but you know, it's what it is. Life gets in the way with everything all the time. So apologize. Mainly it's on me though. I'm kind of lazy. Kind of getting a little burnt out of Chronicon. Just a smidge. What about you guys? What are you doing when you're not playing Chronicon? What other games are you playing? You know, me, I'm trying out some Torchlight. You know, put up a video just a little bit ago. Don't know if you guys are really watching it or not. But, you know, jumping in there, seeing if we can't get any cool builds going with that. Maybe see if we can't get any videos, stuff like that. Otherwise, yeah, let me know. Let me know what you guys think of this build. Let me know what you guys are playing. Let me know what you want to see down in the comments. And always make sure to like and subscribe to the video. You guys have been doing so good. Keep it up. I like what I'm seeing. I like the interaction. I like the numbers. Let's keep it going, all right? Let's get this channel booming, baby. Okay? Otherwise, that's going to be it for me. Like always, tell someone you love them. Take it easy.